if you're interested in finding your power potential, you have to learn how to load your trail hip. Now here's what I mean by that. Let's use a boxer as an analogy. I'm gonna set my club down here. So if you're a boxer, and you know, we've watched boxers, you've watched the motion, so a lot of times I hear people say, I have to have a full turn. Well, you can have a full turn and not load your trail hip. I can turn my body like this and have no power, right? So I could turn, I could sway, or I could load. So think of a boxer. I got a heavy bag. I'm gonna punch it, right? If I went like this, no power. If I went like this, no power. If I went like this, power, right? So what is loading? Loading means you're literally loading the muscle of your quad and your glute. So when I go back, this hip, I like to say it goes back and a little bit in. And as it does, I can really get into the ground. I feel a lot of weight on my trail heel. So I'm into the ground. I feel a lot of energy in my quad and glute where I could spring off the ground. That's what you're trying to do when you're loading your trail hip. A stretch I ask my students to do, and you know, we have a stretching routine I ask my students to do before they take a lesson from me. There's a stretching area that we set up at WJ. So they go in, and the final stretch after they do the sequence of stretches is what I call the 4-point position stretch. And basically it's cool because it's not only stretching, but it's stretching in sequence of how you want your body to move during the golf swing. So you take the golf club and you put the shaft up on your shoulder line, align the grip on the left side or the front side, get into your tilt. So I'm gonna get tilted, and then I'm gonna load. So what's that mean again? My trail hip is gonna go back and in, and I like to say sometimes load coil. So you load your lower body, you coil your upper body on top of it. So I load, and then I coil. At that point, you can see the grip is really lined up over my back foot. So there's the load or load coil. Then that's position one. Position two is to unload. So what I'm gonna do is just let my weight transfer to the lead side. That's what should happen in the transition your downswing. If you've loaded properly, now you wanna use the force to gain some power. So I'm gonna load, then I'm gonna transfer. Once I've transferred, now I can uncoil. So I bring my shoulders to square, and then I try to go further. I leave my shoulders square and try to pull that hip even further backwards. So I'm stretching the hip. Position four is to release the trail shoulder. Notice I didn't move my head in those stretches. So I want to load, transfer, uncoil, release the shoulder. And if you think about it, that's the top of the backswing, that's the transfer to the downswing, that's impact, and that's post-impact. So it's a great stretch, but it's a great way to teach yourself how to load the trail leg to reach your power potential. I would encourage you, come into WJ. We've got a virtual lesson that's 10 or 15 minutes on really gaining all your, I like to call it the ABCs of power. So it's a much more in-depth presentation of reaching your power potential. Take that lesson and you can really figure out where your power leaks are so you can get the ball as far as possible.